After many people commented on the similarity between Scarlett Johansson's voice from her and the Sky voice that was used in all of the OpenAI demos, Scarlett Johansson has just released a statement saying that OpenAI actually reached out about explicitly using her voice, a request which she denied. Just a week after OpenAI's GPT-4o demos and Google's new variety of AI announcements, and on the same day that Microsoft started showing off its Copilot PCs. The big AI story was not about any of these technologies, but about potential legal action from Scarlett Johansson. By way of background, Scarlett Johansson was, of course, the voice of Samantha in Her. The movie Her, meanwhile, which as a total aside was not meant to be aspirational but was intended as dystopian, is something that Sam Altman has said clearly influenced OpenAI. Let's listen to this clip.
The number of things that I think Her got right that were not obvious at the time, like the whole interaction model with how humans are going to use an AI, this idea that it is going to be this like conversational language interface, that was incredibly prophetic and certainly more than a little bit inspired us.
So they're on the record as being very interested in this movie. Add on top of that, the fact that Altman explicitly made the connection to the movie during the demo last week when he tweeted the word her, which by the way got 12 million views. And all of this led to many comparisons between the voice that was in these OpenAI demos, which was called Sky, and Scarlett Johansson's voice. Again, let's briefly listen.
Well, just when I thought things couldn't get any more interesting. Talking to another AI that can see the world? This sounds like a plot twist in the AI universe.
Now, even before any of this Scarlett Johansson stuff, there were already some critiques of this voice, that it was way too flirty in a way that made people uncomfortable. But all of this came to a head yesterday when Scarlett Johansson released a statement. The statement reads, "Last September, I received an offer from Sam Altman, who wanted to hire me to voice the current ChatGPT 4.0 system. He told me that he felt by my voicing the system, I could bridge the gap between tech companies and creatives and help consumers to feel comfortable with the seismic shift concerning humans and AI. He said he felt that my voice would be comforting to people. After much consideration and for personal reasons, I declined the offer. 9 months later, my friends, family, and the general public all noted how much the newest system named Sky sounded like me. When I heard the released demo, I was shocked, angered, and in disbelief that Mr. Altman would pursue a voice that sounded so eerily similar to mine, and that my closest friends and news outlets could not tell the difference. Mr. Altman even insinuated that the similarity was intentional, tweeting a single word, her, a reference to the film in which I voiced a chat system, Samantha, who forms an intimate relationship with a human. 2 days before the ChatGPT 4.0 demo was released, Mr. Altman contacted my agent asking me to reconsider. Before we could connect, the system was out there. As a result of their actions, I was forced to hire legal counsel, who wrote 2 letters to Mr. Altman and OpenAI, setting out what they had done and asking them to detail the exact process by which they created the Sky voice. Consequently, OpenAI reluctantly agreed to take down the Sky voice. In a time when we are all grappling with deepfakes and the protection of our own likeness, our own work, our own identities, I believe these are questions that deserve absolute clarity. I look forward to resolution in the form of transparency and the passage of appropriate legislation to help ensure that individual rights are protected." This triggered an unbelievable amount of conversation. Altman felt compelled to comment. He sent a statement to CNBC that said, "The voice of Sky is not Scarlett Johansson's, and it was never intended to resemble hers. We cast the voice actor behind Sky's voice before any outreach to Ms. Johansson. Out of respect for Ms. Johansson, we have paused using Sky's voice in our products. We are sorry to Ms. Johansson that we didn't communicate better." So let's try to unpack the myriad of things going on here. First of all, there is the explicit legal question of whether the Sky voice was actually trained on anything from Scarlett Johansson. Many of the AI safety folks who already don't like Sam Altman jumped up to scream that of course it probably was, and that we needed a full accounting of how it was trained. And sure, if that's the case, that's obviously hugely problematic, but I think it misses the broader point. And frankly, I think it undermines a lot of the critique by trying to suggest that Sky itself was directly trained on Scarlett Johansson's voice, rather than just meant to sound like her. Now, of course, on the other end of the spectrum, there are many people who pointed out that just a similarity in a voice doesn't entitle someone to not having any voices that sound like that used by AI. Ananate tweets, "OAI isn't at fault if it's genuinely a different voice actress. Just because X sounds like Scarlett Johansson doesn't make it Scarlett Johansson's voice. Fight the lawsuit, bring Sky back." There are also folks who are inclined towards the AI safety side of things that also think that people are trying to make too much hay out of this. Florian Mai tweets, "Many AI safety-minded people are losing all their credibility for dunking on OpenAI for any reason they can get their hands on, regardless of how irrelevant they are to AI safety. The super alignment team disbanding is a big deal, a Hollywood star being angry not so much." Now, of course, what he's referring to is the fact that OpenAI dissolved the super alignment team in the wake of its leader, Jan Leike, leaving. Reports from inside the company suggest that the team members who are still there are being reassigned to other teams within the company. This, by the way, is a story that is continuing to pick up. Jeremy Kahn from Fortune magazine tweeted this morning, exclusive, OpenAI publicly committed to give 20% of its computing resources to a team dedicated to controlling the most dangerous kind of AI. It never delivered, and in fact, repeatedly denied that team's request for resources. So this isn't the focus of today's show, so I'm not going to go deep on this. I do think that it's a very interesting moment to see how the cleave between the AI safety folks and the acceleration side of things is growing. But the point being that this is one take where focusing on some Hollywood celebrity isn't the right thing to focus on. I think that the obviously bigger thing here is just the obvious own goal. In other words, it doesn't really matter, I don't think, whether or not there is any legal culpability here. This is a gray area space that there's going to be lots of legal battles fought on over the next few years, and who knows where things will land when it comes to exactly what rights around someone's likeness and voice they have. Is Sky enough similar to Scarlett Johansson that there's actual legal culpability there? Would there have to be actual Scarlett Johansson material in the training? Even then, is that protected, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Those are all legal questions. But right now, there's an incredible battle for public opinion going on. And this just reads terribly. Darus tweets, "This is why so many creatives are so anti-AI. If Scarlett Johansson, a celebrity, had to lawyer up to get them to unsteal her voice, imagine how hard it will be for any and everybody else to claim or reclaim their work after AI companies steal it." Even if you disagree with a lot of the premises of that tweet, it's fairly shocking to me that even with a cursory watching of the cultural attitudes around AI right now, that you wouldn't understand that this was going to become an issue. Tom Shaughnessy writes, "I'll say it feels like there's a trend of Sam and OpenAI acting murky and trying to cover afterward. Scarlett Johansson this week, the equity clawback last week, entire safety team leaving last week. I'm losing track. Allow drama-free competitors to enter the ring." There is always a certain amount of chaos when it comes to new startups. If you have ever built or been in a startup that is being built quickly, there is no way to move as fast as you want or think is important. That pressure is increased dramatically by the place that AI has in society and the viciousness for the competition of the frontier. But at some point, you're no longer a scrappy startup. You're an industry leader, and you have to be held to a higher standard. From where I'm sitting with the facts that we have right now, it doesn't seem likely to me that OpenAI did anything actually legally wrong. My guess is that they did not train Sky on Scarlett Johansson's voice, especially after they asked her and were denied getting explicit permission to use her voice. I also think that their intentions in trying to invoke a cultural reference point with the movie Her were not trying to be creepy or weird. That movie was clearly an important cultural touchstone for many of the people at OpenAI, and I'm sure they felt like they were doing an homage. What's more, an homage that might make other people feel more comfortable as well. But if they and we didn't realize it before, everyone has to tread more carefully and endeavor to appreciate the ethical gray areas that so much of this industry lives in right now, or else every week is just going to be a conversation like this rather than a conversation about new technology. And make no mistake, there is absolutely a battle for public opinion going on that is going to make it to Washington, D.C. Hawaii Senator Brian Schatz tweeted yesterday, "Alarming that an AI company just seems to have gone ahead and lifted a voice of an actual person without permission or compensation. The impunity is even more worrisome for performers who aren't already popular. The right to one's own image and voice must be protected." Look, I am in the AI industry. I am on the side of the AI industry, broadly speaking at least, but we just got to do better. Simple as that. Anyways, guys, that is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Until next time, peace.